Hello, it's been a while. This is Narcissist Ninjas. Remember to come see us over on Facebook if you want more information about how you can recover from narcissistic influence, abuse, whatever you want to call it, interference. I like to call it. It's interfering with your life process. If you've been exposed to narcissism, and you know what? Everyone in the whole darn world can be described as having being exposed to narcissism because we live in a narcissistic society. And if you want more information about how I feel about that, and you can look at the previous video that I just did, which is WTF America. Because more and more, because of the trying times that we are under, probably the most difficult times we have had, definitely in my lifetime, but in many decades, we are living in very difficult times. And because of that stress and because of that societal breakdown, we are seeing an exposure and like a massive outbreak of narcissism. And I feel that in some ways, I feel grateful that my recovery began before the pandemic, because I had gone through, was it 2 years, maybe two and something years of recovery when the pandemic hit. So I had been educating myself on narcissism, and I'd been exposing myself to a lot of information that I had never found before. And as the YouTube and as people are becoming more independent and YouTube is growing, what I'm finding here on YouTube, it is a panacea for narcissists. It is it's just an ocean of narcissism. And it gives people that probably could never function in society, in a real job, in a real situation, where they have to get up every day and, day in, day out, and do repetitive tasks and be very responsible. There's a lot of people that become so-called YouTube stars, when in the real world, they probably couldn't do anything else. And listen, that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to find an outlet, to find a creative process. And YouTube offers that to people. But there's an awful lot of dysfunction on this platform. And it's a microcosm of what our real world is. Alrighty, this is a particular YouTuber who goes by the name of Molly GoLightly, but her real name is Marissa Sadisky, and she was formerly known as Big Juicy. I think that was in her more raunchy days. I haven't gone into her like detailed history. I don't know if she was any kind of a call girl or anything. That sounds like to me a stripper call girl name, but look, no, I don't know. So don't quote me. I don't know. It just sounds like that to me. I think it might be more of a show name, maybe of some kind. I don't know. I just know a little bit about her history. What I do know is, like, when I ran across her, the only time I've ever seen her was on this YouTube channel that she has, where, like, I just couldn't understand why people were drawn to her, because all she did seem to do was have these outbursts, yelling. And then I would listen to some of her videos and I realized what was happening. She has a soft side. She appears, and there has been some indication that she's an actress in her past, right? She shows snippets of empathy. And when people are not exposed to education about narcissism, when someone shows those like snippets of empathy, people think, oh, they're an empathetic person. What they do is they kind of blank out on all the rest of their behavior. And they just remember, oh, she's empathy. She actually gave money to St. Jude's. She's empathy. She's got empathy. She's a wonderful person. She's talking about crime. She's talking about, lost little girls. She must have empathy. She has to have empathy, right? Right? That's what people see. And they seem to close off, especially if someone is already traumatized by narcissistic abuse or are narcissistic themselves. They don't look at the rest. They just look at that one particular area that they're drawn to. And, I'm not here. I certainly don't want to bash an aging woman because, Jesus, that's where I'm at, right? And it's rough. It's rough to take for granted our younger days. And as we age, try to do it as gracefully as possible. But when I see a narcissist aging, I kind of I hate to say it, I kind of like it. And I kind of like to make fun of it. And, that's something I'm working on. I know. I got to work on it. Like sometimes I don't see narcissism, but anyone that has narcissistic traits, I kind of do a little cutoff and think, oh, they're not really human, so it doesn't matter. I know. I got to work on that. So, one thing I noticed about this lady's channel is that if anyone challenges her or goes against anything she says, there is a narcissistic rage of some kind, an outburst, a bullying almost technique that she uses. And I think what keeps people hanging on to her is the fact that she does display periodic empathy, which then confuses the person that tends to like her. So they stick around. They say, well, and then they start to look for reasons to vilify anyone that's crossed her, right? Today, in effect, I will link the video below. Now, we don't know how long she'll keep it up because what I noticed is that when she gets some feedback that's not favorable for her, she deletes her video, or she puts it in private so that you have to pay to see it, which is another disgusting trait to some of these YouTubers, right? It's a lot about control. It's a lot about what they can get from people here. But the one today, I'll link it above. There was this lady from England that came on talking to her, and I guess she knew her for a while. And the lady didn't seem right. She seemed a little off for sure. But she admired apparently Molly and had been a part of her channel or whatever. But Molly caught her talking to somebody else and saying something negative about her, I guess. And she literally sat there and vilified this lady. And you could tell there was some kind of mental frailty going on, right? So for someone in her position, what I think might have been best would have been to do something maybe privately or talk to her, suggested some help for her. But the way Molly or Marissa handled it was disgusting. And she literally humiliated her on her channel in a conversation and got her other subscribers to kind of really dig in. Now, at first I'm thinking, lady, and I think I even made a comment at one point like, lady, what are you doing? This lady is not a life coach. Find some real mental health, right? Help. But then I realized I deleted it because I realized that, you just never know where this lady's coming from. But another thing is that Melissa um, quotes herself as being a life coach, and she is quite obviously, you only have to watch her channel for about like maybe 5 minutes, and you realize that this lady is in serious need of mental health services. So there's some indication too that Melissa's had Marissa, sorry. She has so many names, I can't keep track of them. Anyway, Marissa apparently has had some struggles with addiction in her past, which can obviously explain some of her physical changes over the years, and as well some of her maybe outbursts and her lack of kind of being together mentally. But when you look at her behavior, I don't think you can say that everything is explained through her problem of addiction, even though half the time she's up there on the channel, it sounds like she's slurring her words. But she has recently said that she has some palsy issues, which are, muscles in the face. That's a condition that comes and goes, and it can cause slurring of words. But to be honest with you, when I see her on her channel, oftentimes she appears under the influence of something, whether it's alcohol or pills. I mean, no one can tell for sure, but it really seems that way. And prolonged use can also lead to palsy issues, right? And can definitely trigger those kinds of things if she's a constant user of different medications. And she's come right out and said that she was highly addicted to, I think it was Xanax or something. I'll look for a video for that as well and link it. But the main thing is addiction and cluster B personality disorders often go hand in hand, right? And you ask yourself, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Did she have the personality disorder and then develop an addiction? Did she have an addiction and then through it did a disorder come about? It's really hard to sometimes tell. But what I find and what I tell myself when I'm dealing with people with these kinds of problems, and when I'm dealing, maybe trying to help someone else figure out something like this in their life, I usually say that, it doesn't matter what caused what or where the problems came from. You look at how a person is treating you and set your boundaries accordingly to that. It doesn't matter if they have an addiction. It doesn't matter if they have personality disorder. Still don't tolerate their abuse. Here she is, as you see, she's a very, very beautiful woman when she started out, especially. Marissa started out, I think, in Las Vegas wanting to be very much a part of maybe entertainment field, right? And she definitely had the look. She definitely had the personality. But I think somewhere along the line, her mental health issues got the better of her. And she's where she is right now. And all you have to do is just set up boundaries, whether you're a member of the public that's giving money to people like this, or whether you're actually a friend in her circle, because she literally was yelling at this poor friend of hers that is dying of cancer, apparently. And she got on the other night and I watched her as she berated this poor man like he's really sick. It's not something just light. He's really, really sick. And she was like screaming at him and just berating him and making him feel so bad. And I thought, Jesus, if I had a friend like that, well, I wouldn't anymore. I wouldn't have a friend like that anymore. There was a time when I tolerated that kind of behavior constantly, and I allowed people to yell at me, and I allowed people to treat me with disrespect. But I don't anymore. And when you're in a sick, just think about it. When you're in a sick state of mind, and if that's her friend for years and years, and you're at the end, and you're looking to that person to support you, and they're yelling at you and berating you, are you fucking, oh, excuse me, are you kidding me? No. This person needs to be held accountable. And it's what you have to do is, whether it's a YouTube celebrity, whether it's someone in your personal space, you have to put up boundaries, and you have to help people like this be accountable. You have to be on the right side, and you cannot allow these people to influence our environment, whether it's YouTube or whatever. It's got to stop. It's just got to stop. Narcissism, man, is a mess. And yes, true enough, we can't diagnose anyone, right? I have to go with what Dr. Grande tells me. We can't diagnose anyone, but we can see patterns of behavior, and we can look at that behavior, compare it to narcissism, and if it's enough to make us feel unsafe in their environment, get the hell out. Let's all send good, positive vibes for anyone who's in the atmosphere of this potential, we don't know, might be narcissist, right? And we try to send light to their direction, and try to send information so that they stop putting them on pedestals and stop giving them their hard-earned cash. That's the least of what they can do to help society, right? Have a great day, and rest up like I have to do, and get rid of this bug that I have. Take care, everyone. Great talking to you.